Bitcoin and crypto bull run 2024 and 2025. Everything is going according to plan, and Germany is now in the game too. Hey, and welcome to the Crypto Chote Owl. Today we are looking at an exciting outlook for the year 2025 and the expected peak of the crypto bull run 2024 and 2025. It usually all starts with the presidential election in the USA. This is just behind us. We see Donald Trump is now the US president or has been elected as US president. It starts on January 20th. And at the same time, yesterday was crazy. November 6th, crazy. In Germany, the traffic light coalition is passing. Or rather, our Chancellor Olaf Scholz is dismissing Finance Minister Christian Lindner. I have quite a bit to say about that, and we will take a look at it shortly. And why Germany will also participate in this plan around these crypto citizens and must participate. I would like to say a few things about that, so staying tuned could be worthwhile just to get some information. Now it has happened. Donald Trump has been re-elected, and Donald Trump is the president who, when we look at the crypto prices, we see that he was the president during which Bitcoin rose the most in percentage terms. When he was elected at the end of 2016, the Bitcoin price was around $700. Then it rose to 17,000 US dollars, or even a little over 17,000 US dollars. And that has, of course, seen the most increase in percentage terms. Now, it must be said that we are transitioning from the nerd phase to the retailer phase. And yes, in general, it was a boom year for the stock market, and Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies also performed extremely well here. If we look at it in percentage terms now, I have to emphasize this because many are saying yes, but the price was much higher. In percentage terms, the price increase during Joe Biden's term was not that high, although, and to be honest, we did see a drastic all-time high, if I click on it now, of over $70,000, or was it even 70,000? Not quite, because we only broke that here in this sense. So we see that we had a drastic increase during Donald Trump's term, but if we break it down into phases, we still come to the point where we say nerd phase, first nerd bull run down here. Then we see that there is also a US presidential election in between, 12, 13, exactly the same here, 16, 17. So one must always consider this 4-year cycle, which begins with the US presidential election and has its peak a year later. So we can see this very clearly through the COVID-19 pandemic. First, the markets collapsed extremely. We see that here. Before that, they had risen extremely. Generally, US presidential election, Donald Trump is gone. Everyone thought now it's going to take off. It was generally speculated in the stock market. Prices rose. Then we saw the COVID crash here. And yet a year later, at the end of 2021, the new all-time high in the crypto bull run of 2020 and 2021. So now we have another stretch with a summer lull and boring phases and the current meme coin hype and all that nonsense. Now we are in 2024, which has already started to rise relatively early here with relatively strong prices due to the Bitcoin ETF in the US. All well and good. That's the situation. Then another summer lull, now the US presidential election, and bam, a new all-time high with the president who wants to strengthen the financial markets and who also has plans for Bitcoin. Let's take a look at that now. And then we can clearly see that 2025 will be an intense year because he takes office on January 20th. And then we'll see what he has planned. And another day, so much can't happen today as it did yesterday, right? And let's be honest, there's also something coming this evening, which I will address shortly. Let's start with what Donald Trump has planned. He has clearly stated that he wants to replace Gary Gensler. And the likely or potential candidate is Hester Pierce. And she is known for her stance on crypto, and that could be very positive for Bitcoin and crypto if she were to suddenly become the head of the regulatory authority. That would definitely be a big deal. Due to Trump, the spot trading volume of the Bitcoin ETF only from BlackRock exceeded 4.1 billion US dollars yesterday. This is a new record. We are talking about trading volume, not just raw numbers that have flowed into the Bitcoin ETF. Then we see the next topic, namely that due to the US election or the re-election of Trump, Bitcoin could be included in US reserves. This is already extremely significant and further supports Bitcoin. At the same time, because Elon Musk wants to support Trump, it could be that we will soon see Bitcoin as a means of payment at Tesla. So we see here, these are significant stories that await us, and this could greatly drive the price of Bitcoin and, of course, crypto forward. In the past, it has always been the case that Bitcoin was able to expand its dominance first, and afterwards, usually the Bitcoin or the other cryptocurrencies followed suit. We could see exactly the same here, especially because Bitcoin is currently in the intense focus of Donald Trump and his administration regarding Bitcoin as state reserves. Elon Musk with Tesla, perhaps, and of course also a new exchange, regulatory authority, or Hester Peirce, here a hot candidate known as Crypto Mom. Overall, we see that this could be very, very positive if he actually implements it in the end. And that is the big question, will he implement it at all? Overall, he has many other plans, and, as is often the case, with every US president or generally with any head of state, when you have many plans, what do you need to implement them? Of course, a lot of money. And something crucial is starting to roll, which also concerns our German federal government again. There are many points that come into play here and are important to understand in order to grasp what could happen next year, which could simultaneously drive cryptocurrency prices. More on that in a moment. If you want to trade cryptocurrencies and invest now, take a look at CoinEx. CoinEx has interesting bonuses. You can trade here with third-party providers. It's very simple. You can here your currency that you want to deposit via various payment providers like Visa, MasterCard, Apple Pay, bank transfer, SEPA. You can buy and deposit everything here. USDT, BTC. And ETH can also be sold back in the same way. You can swap normally here, like on a DEX, for example, Bitcoin for the exchange's own token, or another from over 1,000 listed cryptocurrencies that you can simply swap here, like on a DEX, only that this is a regular exchange. At the same time, you can here engage in sports trading, meaning you can simply buy here via limit and market price, so you can specify a price and then it will be bought, or use the market price, the best price from the order book. At the same time, there is futures trading, copy trading, everything you know, and as mentioned, over 1,000 listed cryptocurrencies that you can spot buy, hold, and even send to your hardware wallet with CoinEx. With the link in the pinned comment or in the video description, there is a small cashback on the fees paid at CoinEx. So check out CoinEx. Use our link, it supports us, and you have a decent crypto trading platform by your side. Now we come to this exciting topic where one really has to say that you need money to implement the whole thing. And money is exactly the point where the government, or rather the German government, broke down yesterday. And specifically, we have a finance minister who clearly states, watch out, we have record amounts, so we have record tax revenues, we have so much money available, we can't manage to use the whole thing properly. That can't be true. And we have built in the black zero, which means no further new debt for Germany. Yes, and our finance minister wanted to stick to that. But everyone else in the cabinet has clearly said, hey, we need a lot of money to build something here. The talk was about 100 billion euros in new debt. And just a few days ago, it was even said from the SPD side that it actually needs 100 billion euros in new debt is needed. The big question is, of course, what will the money be used for? Are we only using it for our infrastructure, internet expansion, road construction, bridge improvements, and so on, of course Scholz, or will all the money be distributed around the world again? Let's think of the bike paths in Peru. Yes, I think they are all riding bikes now, probably even e-bikes. They should still send you money for batteries. I don't know. In any case, one must consider what the money will be used for. And there is, of course, the next statement from Chancellor Olaf Scholz, who says unconditional support for Ukraine. This means that if Germany now takes on 600 billion euros in debt, it doesn't necessarily mean that it will only stay in Germany. Rather, it could be distributed around the world again, or perhaps used for the Ukraine war. So many points where one says new debt, and then so much, do we want that? And there is a crucial point why it definitely makes sense to take on debt. But, as I said, one must look at where to use it, and it is relatively simply explained, but not everyone is aware of how it all works. And indeed, when one considers whether to take on new debt, yes or no, one must think about the fact that we are in a currency union, the euro. This means that all those who are part of the euro contribute to stability, but also to inflation for this euro value. This means that all the countries around us, and there are really all the countries around us, do not have a balanced budget. Rather, all euro countries are taking on new debt. These new debts lead to more euros being printed. More euros are being printed, which means that inflation rises because an increase in the money supply equals inflation. This means that we are suffering from higher inflation. And for more expensive prices for our normal household products and daily needs, we are actually bearing the burden of the new debts of the countries around us. This means that ultimately it makes sense. If everyone around us is incurring debt, then let's also take on debt, since we have to bear the inflation anyway. So, in my opinion, it makes absolute sense to incur new debt here. But now the question is 100 billion, 600 billion, or where is the money going? So it means other countries are completely expanding their infrastructure. Germany is bearing the costs of the new money and is doing nothing for infrastructure. This means that it absolutely makes sense to take on new debt in order to improve one's own infrastructure. Who doesn't know it? Every day you travel over bumpy roads or take the train, one could invest a bit more there and expand it. So there are many, many points that could be improved in Germany with new money. However, if you take on 600 billion euros and distribute it around the world or use it for the Ukraine war, it doesn't make much sense because we will bear the costs anyway. No matter where the money goes, inflation will definitely rise as a result. This means that we are causing more inflation with new debt, which we already have because the countries around us, that is, around Germany, are taking on new debt that drives up the inflation of the euro. Why don't we take on new debt and use it for our own infrastructure? Because if you go to other countries, they are constantly building new roads, and a lot is being improved there. The infrastructure, public spaces in the city, highways, bridges, everything is being improved. And here in Germany, nothing is happening, and we already have high inflation, meaning expensive prices. This means that new debt makes sense. Now there was no agreement, and now it means new elections in March. And the next chancellor could also be named March. Very funny, a humorous wordplay at this moment, but one wonders why not directly the vote of no confidence and another election in January. Well, others should decide that, but I also think that when a government is over or nearing its end, then directly new elections should be held to wrap up the whole topic. The big question is, if Olaf Scholz poses the vote of no confidence, can he even run for chancellor again? Because actually, if he is voted out, the big question is, who will step up, who will come from the Greens, who will come from the FDP. And I believe, however, Lindner can always say, I was thrown out. I can simply run again because I never left. And I was not given a vote of no confidence, but the government just didn't want me anymore. However, the next one might want me, so I will run again as the main candidate of the FDP. Well, all speculation leads to mustard politics. From a financial perspective, it is clear that it takes a lot of money to implement plans. Whether it is a Donald Trump or a new federal government that will definitely come next year, either at the end of the year or already at the beginning of the year, it is clear that they have plans and want innovations so that they can say in 4 years, hello, we have done this and that. But in order to do that, to pat oneself on the back, it is very important to have a lot of money available. This means that we can assume that a lot of new money will be created through new loans, through new government debt. Let's think back to the last time we had such massive government debt, or rather an expansion of the money supply. We were at this point in 2020 or 2021 when there was no way forward. This massive candle appeared, or rather these big breakouts in the Bitcoin chart, because there was simply more money available and more money was put into circulation, which was then also invested and put into Bitcoin. This means that it could all become very exciting, and we have to be honest, this time we have additional features, namely the US Bitcoin Reserve, if it comes, but also the Bitcoin ETF. This means that if more money is now available for investments, it could largely flow into the Bitcoin ETF, which would then lead to new high prices again. This means, in my opinion, BULLRUN 2024 actually only really begins with the US presidential election. This is now settled. Donald Trump has won. Donald Trump stands for economic growth and for economic upturn and for new investments. This means that we have seen what happened. The price has skyrocketed. We can take a nice look at this again. The price has risen extremely. After it became known that he became US president, we have also broken out of this regression channel. This means that from now on we can draw new ones here. But a second registration channel, you can't see it. If I pull it back a bit here, we see that it goes steeply upwards. It is very exciting to see what happens now. In my opinion, everything is going according to plan. The plan is actually new borrowing. New money that comes into circulation leads to new investments. And through the Bitcoin ETF, the Bitcoin price could rise extremely. At the same time, as the Bitcoin price rises quite high, retailers, meaning you and I, also become aware who may not deal with crypto every day. Watch out, crypto investment is easier than stocks, at least if you have dealt with it a bit. Then I have to say, I will invest in crypto, but Bitcoin has already risen so high, what else is there? And we could already see that the altcoin market, meaning everything other than Bitcoin, will then break out. In my opinion, everything is going according to plan, and the plan is even being accelerated by Germany, because we can actually assume that Germany is also dealing with the whole issue of the Eurozone, new debt. Others are accumulating debt. We already have inflation or so, or rather, we are already bailing it out. Why not take on simple debt? Whether it is now 100 billion, 200 billion, 600 billion is perhaps extreme, but if you are planning significant infrastructure packages, new roads, and so on, you have to be honest, you need a lot of money. However, if it is distributed around the world, it doesn't really make sense for Germany to take on so much debt. It remains very exciting. My opinion is and remains that it is going according to plan because a lot of money will be circulating, a lot of money will be printed. And through the Bitcoin ETF, we will see massive investments, including in Bitcoin. US Bitcoin reserves, a big topic. We are always very curious about how quickly it will be implemented and whether it will be implemented at all, or if it was just a campaign speech that ultimately was not realized or a campaign promise that was not fulfilled. Well, I would like to hear your opinion on this whole topic. I have explained to you what I think will happen. I have explained to you why it makes sense for Germany to incur new debts. And I would love to hear your opinion. Feel free to get political. Regarding our current government, what will happen with Scholz? What will happen with Lindner? Will the Chancellor be from March next year? Who will you coalition with? Write everything in the comments. I will read it in this sense. I would love to hear your comments. Remember our free Telegram group where you will get the information about everything that has happened much faster. And November 6th, 2024, a new holiday. Maybe not. In any case, a very interesting day for the history books. And what was extremely interesting was that the DAX rose today after the traffic light coalition is gone. Yesterday, uncertainty. Oh my God, what will happen now with the traffic light coalition? Who will form the government now? And today, it rises. The traffic light coalition is at an end. They will continue as a minority government. They say they are capable of making decisions. In my opinion, they are not. And there was also no agreement reached today with Scholz and Merz. So, you see, I am following the whole thing because it is, of course, also reflected in the stock market. That means it feels like, and this is what I see here based on the green candles, the stock market is positive, that the German government is gone. It's crazy, but it simply shows that this traffic light coalition may not have been the best for the country of Germany. In this sense, I thank you very much for watching and see you in the next video.